Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So I know obviously the last couple of days we've been talking about TSM a lot. One, because of the kind of big three North American teams, obviously Cloud9, Team Liquid, and TSM. TSM is the only team that is officially in off-season mode now. Their season is now over. We can start speculating about what the future's gonna have in store for them, and we have more of a complete picture than we do for Cloud9 or Team Liquid or even 100 Thieves or any team that's still in World's contention, because even if we have ideas of what their offseason is going to look like right now, it could change a lot depending on how the rest of the LCS playoffs go and depending on how Worlds goes. You know, if we don't expect North American teams to do too much at Worlds, so we think we know the full picture, but every once in a while, a team does make it out of groups. Every once in a while, a team has even made it to the semifinals before, so that could change a little bit of stuff for some of these teams. But even with that being said, I still think it's fair to talk about them a little bit. And in this video today, we're going to be going over a player from Team Liquid. We're going to be going over Tactical, because I think he actually has a very, very interesting offseason ahead of him. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Subscribe to save the day on all my latest content, and consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/IamGerm, where you can help support me, my content, and my channel a little bit extra. And you can find the VODs for my weekly podcast, Beyond the Rift with I Am Germ, that is also live streamed every single Monday here on YouTube. With that being said, let's get right into this. So we are talking about Mr. Tactical, because I think he and Team Liquid are both in an interesting spot for this upcoming offseason. So, when you look at Team Liquid, I think two players are, I think are absolute locks for next season. I think Jensen will be back with Team Liquid. He's a resident mid laner, which is one of the most valuable things you can possibly have in North America. You know, North American talent in the mid lane does not exactly grow on trees, and since, you know, for the most part, most teams import at a lot of different positions, having a resident mid laner can be very, very good, especially when it is one of Jensen's caliber, who, again, has done pretty well internationally in his career. He's not been amazing. He's definitely had some bad performances here and there, but he's made it to a world semi. He's had some success. Overall, he's been pretty damn good. I think the other lock is obviously CoreJJ. He is a lock. Jensen also just got a big contract extension last offseason. It seems like they're all about him. CoreJJ has kind of been the franchise player for a while. Alphari I see as a near lock. Obviously Team Liquid wants to bring him back. The one thing is, how is the relationship between Team Liquid and Alphari? I think it's pretty good at this point. I think it should be fine. I do expect Alphari to be back for Team Liquid. I wouldn't say it's 100% though, but I would say the chances are pretty high at this point. Then you get to the other two guys. You know, say Team Liquid doesn't win the LCS championship this year. You know, maybe there's, still they're going to be looking for some improvement. Say they even do win the LCS championship, but say they go to groups and don't get out of, or say they go to Worlds and don't get out of groups, which is a very, very real possibility. Groups are going to be loaded this year. 4 LCK teams, 4 Chinese teams, PSG Talon, 3 European teams. Groups are going to be tough. It might be the hardest group stage in the history of the World Championships. And even in some of the other years, you know, previous, North America has not exactly done too hot. So let's say Team Liquid does not get out of groups. They could be looking to make some changes. Obviously, that would leave Santorin and Tactical as the two most likely changes to be made there. Now, I thought for some time that the move would be Santorin. I thought the move would be Team Liquid going for an import jungler, whether it be some crazy import. I know some people are throwing like Canyon, his name around, and guys like that, or whether it be self-made, whether it be Yankos. But all of a sudden, Santorin, who has missed a lot of time this year due to injuries, mental health issues, just health issues in general, whatever you want to call it, he missed a lot of time, and he wasn't there for them in the spring playoffs. He wasn't there for them during the summer split. But now that he's back and healthy and feeling better, he's so damn good. And, you know, this is another split where Blabber kind of had a down split. And even though Spica and Closer are on the come up, you see in the playoffs that Santorin at his best can be just as good, if not better, than Spica. Can be just as good, if not better, than Closer. Can perhaps be the best jungler in North America, which is what I think he looked like last summer. And right now I think he's, you know, in that conversation. So Team Liquid, if they feel comfortable with Santorin's health, if they feel comfortable with that whole situation, they could absolutely bring him back for next year. And I would even say it's likely they're going to bring him back for next year, especially if they go on to win the LCS championship and Santorin continues to look pretty good. and he has a positive outlook on his health going forward into the future. And that would leave us with Mr. Tactical, who I think is solid. I think he's good. I think at times he's even great. But I absolutely think he is replaceable. Obviously, there is big name 80 carry talent out there that Team Liquid could potentially get. I know I've talked about previously how I thought Doggo would be very, very good on Team Liquid. This was like right after MSI. This was a long, long time ago. But obviously, there's going to be other names on the market. People are going to be throwing around names like Viper. People are going to be throwing around names like Huan Feng. There are a ton of international 80 carries that are very, very good. And this is assuming Core JJ gets his green card this offseason. Team Liquid would have an import slot open. Jensen is a resident. If they bring back Santorin, he is a resident. Alfari would be an import, and Core JJ would be a resident, and they would have that one slot open. And we know that Mr. Steve loves his imports. We know that Reggie, Steve, Jack are all pushing for the import rule to be removed from North America. And why would Steve be doing that if he was going to not be taking even full advantage of the current import rules? Like say they bring Tactical back, say they bring back the whole this year's roster into next year, with Core JJ getting his green card, they would have an import slot open. You think Steve's going to be wasting his time, wasting his breath, wasting his money, all of this stuff, pissing people off to try and get the import rule removed, to not even, use it to his fullest of advantages? He likes his imports. He wants to go out and get some imports. Also, Tactical's under contract, and he could be sold off for a lot of money, which would also, be good for business and help them even more to go land a big name 80 carry, which I think would be an improvement. Tactical is a great player in his own right. He's a great player, especially when you compare him to other North American players, but he is absolutely replaceable, especially with a big name import. And I think if Tactical does, go out on the market, if TL does start shopping him, this offseason could get very, very interesting. Obviously, I think at the top of the list would be TSM. Now that they have this FTX money to throw around, there's some rumors, and I've heard some people say that maybe their relationship with Team Liquid isn't as great anymore, but at the end of the day, Steve and Reggie are businessmen. I'm sure they could come up with something. I'm sure they could decide on something. Tactical is obviously familiar with the TSM organization. He seems to be friends with Spica. I'm sure he is friends with a lot of the guys at the org, and I think it would work out very, very well. TSM is probably going to be in a spot where if they do want to import in the top lane or something like that, bring back Broken Blade or look at some other top laner, they would need a Resident 80 carry, and Tactical is really as good as it comes as far as Resident 80 carries that are potentially going to be available. Danny is maybe another name there too, but Tactical would be very, very interesting. Also, another option, which I haven't really heard very many people talking about, I don't know how realistic this is, but Cloud9. If they do decide to go after Jankos, they would obviously need a Resident 80 carry, and most people are saying King. But if Cloud9 does not like what they saw from King in this past season, maybe Cloud9 could even go after Tactical, and that could be a very, very interesting move, where then they would still be able to sell off Sven and be able to sell off King or hold on to King, whatever they wanted to do, and they could potentially make a lot of money. We know that Cloud9 loves, buying low and selling high on guys, and that would help them fit in their, mid-young duo of Jankos and Perks. It would help them get a new 80 carry. But yeah, I just think there is so many different options, so many ways this could play out. It starts with Team Liquid deciding if they want to keep Santorin, deciding whether they'd be willing to move on from Tactical, and then other teams starting to throw some deals out there. But I think TSM Tactical is a name that I'm hearing people say more and more. It's popping up more and more in conversations. And I think it would be a very, very big move for TSM. I know they're going to be looking at import 80 carries as well, but Team Liquid is absolutely going to be in that market. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens going forward. But again, the LCS playoffs, Worlds, and the dominoes that fall in free agency are all going to play a large part in what happens to all of these players. So this is just speculation at this point. This is just theory crafting. This is just an idea. But there's definitely a world where Team Liquid could move on from Tactical. There's definitely a world where we could see TSM Tactical. And I think that'd be pretty interesting. I think that'd be pretty cool. But that is pretty much every video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you do enjoy it. I would appreciate it so, so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think this offseason has in store for Tactical? Do you think he's on Team Liquid? Do you think he's on another team? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.